Hey, hey, welcome again to another episode of the Strong in 4-5 MMA podcast. I'm your host, Obi, me, doing this all over again. All right, I managed to get a microphone for this because I realized the last two episodes, the only two episodes so far, the audio has not been the best, but I'm definitely working on improving the quality over time. So we're looking at, obviously the video quality might need improving, will need improving at a certain point. But for now, we'll just go ahead and keep maybe giving value as much as possible. And obviously, cash these bets, make some money, right? Where possible. So I got to admit, so far, I've been pulling up short with my predictions. But again, it's MMA. That's my excuse. It's MMA, and you can never. There's a lot of variables you can't really. You can never really legislate for. So, really, the reason why I want to do this is just to review the results from the last UFC fight card, which just happened on Saturday. It was UFC Fight Night, Overeem versus Harris. Turned out to be a very good card, actually, because we only previewed the five fights in the main card. However, there was 11 fights in total, 6 of them being in the prelims, right? And I ended up watching all of them, actually, including the prelims fights, and it was amazing. So if you obviously have a spare time and you're looking for something exciting, or you're a bit crazy, a bit psycho like me and the other MMA fans, find a way to watch them, catch them. So today I just wanted to review, again, I've said already, wanted to review the results from the last card, as far as it pertains to the predictions I made. So I'm just going to go off the results I have on my bet slip I put through on William Hill. I tend to do accumulator, so just put as little money as possible, aiming to get the most sort of value from it. I don't really remember how much I was meant to be getting for putting a £5 bet on these 5 fights. I believe it was probably about 200 or something pounds. And I want to say I was really close to getting it. Officially, the results were, so I had 2 results right, which lines up very well with my previous predictions on my previous episode, and 3 results wrong. However, I'll get to it in terms of like what really happened with the individual fights. Actually, I'm just going to go through the individual fights now. So starting from the bottom up, right, on the card you had Yadong versus Vera. Right, I had Yadong winning in my prediction. True to form, he did win. But on closer look at the fight, it was quite a lucky one. So again, you win some, you lose some. Whenever it goes to decision, the fight went to decision, you win some, lose some. In my prediction, I was thinking Yadong was gonna control the tempo and the pace of the fight, probably walk Vera down, and Vera will respect his hands way too much to basically engage on the feet. I had that wrong in terms of how it actually played out. I definitely thought Vera won that fight. Along with, because I listened to the weigh-in podcast by Josh Thompson, who's a previous MMA fighter, and Big John McCarthy, who's a big name in the MMA world. Used to be a referee, now commentator in Bellator. And they both agreed that Vera won that fight. I actually looked at when it came to decision, I totally hands up agreed Vera won that fight, even though my dog in the fight was, as it were, Song Yadong. Song had some good spells. His hands are really sharp, very fast. However, I'm starting to think, for the most part, if you are a fast twitch fighter, fast hands, a lot of power, you tend to not have too much output. So when that's the case, it tends to not be in your favor when you look at the fight in total, when it comes to like deciding who's won the fight, because obviously the criteria to go off is effective striking and grappling. Effective striking can mean doing damage, knocking somebody down, and controlling them on the floor. Effective grappling. But next up on the criteria list is octagon control. So usually where if you're not knocking somebody down or basically putting them in really like controlling them on the floor, then you're potentially not going to do well when it comes to the judging at the end of the fight. So usually when, my point is when it comes to two fighters where one producing more outputs and the other one, and one is more of a fast twitch fighter, you find the fast twitch guy don't tend to, control the fight too much or control the octagon too much. You find more sort of effective striking from them than anything else. And if the effective striking doesn't transfer across or translate to a knockdown, then they're not probably going to win that round. Song didn't really, it didn't knock Vera down at all in the fight at all. So I'd say, I think maybe he had one round. I think he had the first round, I believe. And then the other two rounds, you can see Vera was fresher. It took him down, I think, twice in the fight. So that's basically effective grappling, essentially. So in my view, definitely Vera won that fight. I'm not gonna beat a dead horse too much. However, according to my prediction, I was right, even though it was lucky. So on to the next fight, you had Anders and Jotko. The outcome of that fight was Jotko won. However, my prediction was Anders was going to win that fight. I had the reasoning I went by was Anders has very, a lot of power in his hands. And I felt, again, similar to Song, I thought he was going to walk Jotko down, which he did, right? But in a very dissimilar way, he Song didn't walk Vera down too much because he was very tired in his fight, whereas Eric Anders was walking Jotko down, not respecting his hands too much in terms of like potential for a knockdown or knockout. However, his output was really low. Again, we're seeing a similar thing where the output for power strikers seem to be super low, and that can then mean that in the end, as it happened here, it went to a decision and Jotko got a nod. All right, on to the next one then. Ige Barbosa. In my prediction, I had Barbosa winning that fight. The final outcome was Ige winning the fight by decision. It was a split decision. Actually, going back to the Jotko fight, Jotko Anders, Jotko won by unanimous decision. And I honestly feel like that's the right decision because Anders didn't really do anything damage-wise. He tried a lot of takedowns, all sorts. Nothing happened. But yeah, Jotko, I believe, unanimous decision, meaning he won all the rounds. They had Yadong winning by unanimous decision as well, which makes it even more bizarre because Vera definitely took the fight to him. He was fresher in the final round. He's an animal. You need to watch that fight for sure. If you have time, you have the resources, the means, definitely watch that fight. Going back to Ige Barbosa. So it was a split decision in the end. Going into Ige, my prediction was Barbosa. From what I've heard, Dana White said he thought Barbosa won. listening to again Josh Thompson and Big John McCarthy. They both agreed Barbosa won that fight as well. Initially, I thought Ige won that fight from watching it, but again, I rewatched it and I see why. In terms of, it was a very close fight, very competitive, definitely a split decision, I would say. Probably actually a unanimous decision, because in the fight, Barbosa hurt Ige in the first round and knocked him down. So that round went to him, knocked him down, did some ground and pound, had some control, again, effective striking and control. So that went to Barbosa. Second round, he hurt him again with a knee to the abs, to the belly. And yeah, and that was it. He hurt him, and he didn't end up having him on the ground, as far as I remember, but he hurt him. So again, damage, effective striking, went to Barbosa. And to be fair, that's a view shared by Thompson and Big John as well. Like, they felt Barbosa won 2 rounds. If you look at it as well, even round 3, you could see that Ige looked like it was taking round three in terms of like the volume, but it felt very competitive. Even though Ige ended up on top at the end, he didn't really do too much damage. It was very, very close, that fight. I would say I see why the judges gave it to Ige. Again, on first viewing, I thought Ige had the fight. I see why they gave it to him, just because of he seemed to be, his striking was very effective. He's a peculiar fighter, I would say, in terms of he's packing a punch, right? He's carrying a lot of power, but his volume is not low out at all as well. So he dictated the tempo for quite a bit, not too much. His output was more, essentially, than Barbosa's, and it was carrying a lot of power as well. So you can kind of see how the judges were, where the judges were coming from. But at the same time, 2 rounds, a lot of people felt 2 rounds went to Barbosa at the very least. So Barbosa should have won that fight. So that's what happens with MMA, in terms of you make predictions and you expect certain things to happen, but a lot of variables come into it, a lot of factors play into it in terms of like the final outcome. Yeah, so I thought Ige was gonna, won that fight, but definitely Barbosa took it. Very unlucky on his behalf, but yeah, it happens. All right. On to the next one. You had Claudia Gadelha fighting Angela Hill. That was a split decision as well. There's a lot of split decisions in the main card for some reason. It's mad. That was a split decision going to Gadelha. I predicted Angela Hill winning that fight. Actually, going back to the Ige Barbosa fight, one point I wanted to make was stats. Stats can be, it's a double-edged sword, I would say. Like, if you look at the stats, right, you see Ige had 100 total strikes, like effective total strikes, right? And Barbosa had 87, just based on the stats I'm seeing on ESPN. And significant English, can't speak. Significant strike from Ige 79, Barbosa 80, and then you had strikes to the head 54 from Ige, Barbosa 40, and from to the body 17, Barbosa 25. To the legs, you had 8 for Ige and then 15 for Barbosa, and control time quite similar. So I'm not a crazy mathematician or anything, but the numbers are quite similar. And whenever I go back to my little criteria where I look at, the power striker versus the volume guy, for me, if you're going to be, if you want to win by volume only, I would say the numbers can't be close in terms of your outputs. you have to, personally, I feel like you have to do double what the other person is doing to take that round or take that fight. Barbosa's output wasn't as, as good as Ige from how I saw it. However, it was close, and at the same time, it did more damage, more effective striking. So that's the reason I feel Barbosa took that fight. But again, he didn't get the nod, so unfortunate. We're going to Gadea Hill fight. You had Gadea. So going to the Gadea Hill fight, I predicted Hill to take the fight. It wasn't the outcome I was expecting. A split decision went to Claudio Gadea. And then from viewing the fight, I totally thought Hill took that fight, just based off she definitely hurt Gadea. Actually, there was a knockdown. Actually, she had a knockdown either round 1 or 2. And there were all the times where she hurt Gadea on the feet. Gadea, I believe she tried, if I remember correctly, she tried to take. She had one takedown, 1 out of 4 takedowns. She took it down. Control time nearly 3 minutes. So she took one round. The final round, it came down to the final round, and it was quite close, the striking. However, I would say stats-wise, Hill took the fight based on the amount of strikes. And that's, for me, it's not something I'm just saying, but also, like, if you look around, in terms of like the people you know in the MMA world. Again, going back to the Wayne podcast where I listened to Josh Thompson and Big John McCarthy, and they felt Hill took that fight, so she won that fight. Again, like, these judges, they look, sometimes, a lot of time when you go to the judges, it's anybody's game, right? No one knows what the hell they're thinking a lot of the time, so it just goes crazy. But again, well, you can only hope that with time, especially with these bets, with time, things are going to even out. That's why you got to bet really safe and very in a reserved fashion. But also, you can throw in a few sort of like sleeps in there, like throw in a few bets. Just look at the, potential for certain things to happen, cover all the bases in terms of, like, if you look at a fight, you decide what might potentially happen, was very likely to happen, and look at fights that might be very competitive, and then factor in what the judges see, and then place bets for the two possibilities, which is what I tend to do. So didn't necessarily go my way this time around, but that's what I tend to do. But yeah, I felt Hill won the fight. I thought I was a little bit biased because I like Hill. She's a very funny person. She's been on Joe Rogan podcast. I can relate to her a lot. And she's good on the feet. She moves around a lot, very well as well. So I like her fighting style. But again, listening to the other podcast with Josh Thompson, they seem to agree that Hill won that fight. So unlucky for me, unlucky for whoever else placed a bet on that fight. But then going on to the main event, Overeem versus Harris, I had predicted Overeem winning that fight. Again, just because I thought he had more tools in his toolbox, right? And that kind of showed. Like, for me, a lot of people that went for Harris were going for, puncher's chance, or puncher's chance, basically. Like, not just chance, because is a known fact. Overeem's chin is not amazing, especially in the heavyweight. You can't be. It's a bad mix. You can't have a weak chin and be in the heavyweights, because them boys swing. They swing hard. Like Josh Thompson says, they got dogs in their hands. swinging hard. So basically, I thought Harris didn't have the stamina to go through the tank to go through 5 rounds, which is what happens in the main event. So I thought Overeem was going to take it based on stamina, based on skills, and if he's able to avoid getting hit on, in his chin. He had to go through some adversity in the first round. He got knocked down, got grounded and pounded, and luckily enough, the referee didn't stop it. And then he took it from there in terms of like he just took it to Harris and took him down, ground and pound, and that's all she wrote. So again, though, like going back to my predictions, it turned out that I got 2 out of 5 right. But then when you look at if everything went well, it would have been 4 out of 5. Definitely something to learn for me in terms of like Jotko and Anders, because I thought Jotko was, he moves around in a very no efficient movement patterns for me. He moves around very, herky jerky kind of way. And I thought Anders was gonna, walk him down and land that punch, but it just didn't work out. I definitely felt I had that one wrong, 100%, just because, Anders, he's very one-dimensional. So I had that one wrong, but definitely was a close one, this one. And I'm quite happy with my predictions. All right, so going on to the prelims, amazing fights on this. I'm just going to touch on some of them. Nascimento v. Mays submission. Nascimento won that fight by submission. It was his, I believe it was a UFC debut. Won that by a rare naked choke submission, round 2. He was very confident, very confident. You could see in just the way I approached the fight. He's a heavy puncher. It was crazy. Mays showed some flashes, but it didn't have enough energy to back it up. And then you had Casey versus Romero Borella. Casey won by armbar, round 1. This was a crazy one. Romero took Casey down. Trying to do some ground and pound. Casey was working armbar the whole time. Michael Bisping was funny on this one. Actually, he was a commentator. It was so funny. He predicted, or he saw what Casey was doing in terms of he could see Casey was working on the armbar, and then it took a while, and then Casey got the armbar, locked it in. You could hear Borella screaming, and it felt like Casey popped out elbow. It was weird watching, but at the same time, I couldn't look away. So it was beautiful but weird, strange. Onto Elkins Landwehr. I think Landwehr was having a debut on this one. Unanimous decision to Landwehr. I didn't watch the fight to the end, only because I didn't really like both of them's fighting style. I thought Landwehr's striking was very basic. Elkins is not a striker, and he's called the damage. He bleeds a lot, and he basically backed up his nickname. He was bleeding all over the place. Landwehr was just, again, I wasn't really too keen on his striking skills, so I just kind of switched it off. I didn't see Chikadze Rivera. Again, it was a unanimous decision, and I don't really want to be watching decision fights where I barely know the names of the guys, right? And then I saw Hernandez, Holland. Holland is known to be a very jovial, crazy character. He just keeps talking nonstop. And it was a crazy fight. Like it was round 1. Basically, 4 minutes 20 into round 1. KO. I think it was an elbow. Was it elbow? It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I think it was an elbow. I don't remember. Actually, knees. Yeah, knee to the stomach. Right. It was a very crazy fight. I think it was 39 seconds into the round 1. Actually, not even 4 minutes 20. It was crazy. Good fight. You had legend Matt Brown versus Baeza. Round 2, 18 seconds into round 2. Matt Brown took the fight to Baeza. good hands. Only had his chin sticking out for the most part, and it was a little bit slower to the punch. Baeza was like, I believe he was like 17 years younger than Brown. Brown is like 30, 38. Baeza is, I think, he's 28. So 10 years younger. Um, and you can kind of see, actually, you gotta respect the fighters. Brown was a beast. Like, he had heavy hands, was lighting, flipping Baeza up on the feet. It was a good fight. It was a good fight. Both of them hurt each other on the feet as well. I think Brown dropped him, I believe. And then second round carried on as before, as it did in the first round, where both of them just threw caution to the wind, made it entertaining, just bleed style. And then Baeza beat him to the punch, knocked him down, ground and pound, and it was over. So yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Definitely, if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe, share, like, just do the necessary. This will be on Spotify, will be on majority of the platforms, the audio formats. So thanks for tuning in. Until next time.